Podcasting by Professionals teaches you to become the expert host of your own show and podcast for profit. Join us. We're reaching millions.
Welcome to Podcast for Profit. I'm Teresa Maron, the Learn To Queen, and our show is presented by podcastingbyprofessionals.com. If you want to podcast for profit, then you're in the right place. Our show covers topics like content marketing, collaborations, marketing through social media and affiliate sales, and you'll get the up-to-the-minute industry news on syndication and distribution from Podcast.Place. Stay tuned. The team at Podcasting by Professionals has a great show for you today.
Are you a podcaster? Spreaker.com gives you the tools to create and distribute your show. Using Spreaker is easy. Use the mobile and web apps to record and listen to your stories. Connect with social networks and automatically share content. Get advanced analytics to track your progress. At Spreaker.com, you can stream your podcast, set up a multi-show network, organize interviews, broadcast from live events, listen and interact live with your audience, and much more. All of this is always available at the best audio quality from the comfort of your own home. Find more materials at Spreaker.com/press. That's Spreaker.com/press. Spreaker.com, the tools to create and distribute your show. Spreaker, a proud sponsor of podcastingbyprofessionals.com.
Entrepreneurs like you want to work smart. Our pros focus today on choosing systems and strategies that streamline your tasks to achieve your goals. First up, discover the social media lead generating machine with Martha Sanchez in the marketing jungle. Then Suzanne Strisower talks with Guest Star Lynnis Woods-Mullin about how she works smart with strategic collaborations. Then learn how one easy system to create all your content can bring people to action with me, Teresa Maron. And stay tuned for red hot right now insider news from the exploding podcast industry with Podcast.Place. Oh, I think it's time to get primitive and enter the marketing jungle with host Martha Sanchez.
It's a jungle out there, and welcome to the marketing jungle with me, Martha A. Sanchez, the Google Queen, where every show I bring you marketing tips that will engage your target audience and generate leads. Over the next 3 weeks, I'm going to cover how to generate leads using the only social media site you can control. If you're wondering which social media site that is, you may be surprised to learn that it's your blog. Yes, a blog is a social media site, a site no one can lock you out of, the only one you control, and a potential lead-generating machine. Many business and entrepreneurs fail to recognize the power of a well-crafted blog. A blog is your opportunity to share valuable content with your target audience in a way that showcases your expertise and leaves them wanting more. There are some basic areas to consider when blogging, and they are 1. Logistics, 2. Content, and 3. Search engine optimization. Let's focus on logistics. Logistics refers to what needs to be put in place and planned before any writing begins, such as having a blog page and creating a plan for how often you will post. All of this enables you to prepare an implementation plan and infrastructure to support the blog, which leads to a call to action to your opt-in product or service. It also makes you more efficient and helps you manage your time better by doing the legwork, which involves such things as creating a blog page that becomes your calling card for your target audience. This means working on the look and placement for your blog on your company's website. You want to make it easy for your target audience to navigate your blogs and find what they need. You also want to establish your categories to assist them with these searches. So make it broad enough that it encompasses a couple of things. You want to have a web form for your opt-in or an email capture form. This is part of the foundation for making an effective call to action in your blog. You also want to have a landing page for your opt-in. And your autoresponder for your opt-in has to be ready as well. This helps you prepare for the follow-up. The delivery system for the opt-in is also very important. Are you going to take them straight to a PDF file? Are you taking them to a landing page where they have that particular audio file if it's an audio file? What are you going to do? How often will you be posting? What are your topics that you're going to be writing about? What opt-in will you be offering with your call to action? And the opt-in is very important. It really has to make sure that it matches your blog content. All of these areas are the foundation for which you can create an effective blog. They provide the infrastructure for your lead generating machine. The common thread within each of the areas is that they all must have an effective call to action. These call to actions must be clear, specific, and motivate your reader or listener to take the desired action. So, if you want to increase your results and audience interaction, learn to supercharge your call to action with the How to Create an Effective Call to Action Guide. And if you act now, you will get a 30-minute call to action consultation plus a bonus audio with time-saving tools to help your business. So generate more leads today with a well-crafted call to action. Just visit podcastingbyprofessionals.com now and go to the team page for Martha Sanchez and click on the blue Time to Act clock. Thank you for joining me today on the Marketing Jungle, and tune in next week for part 2 of Blogs, your lead generating machine, where I will be discussing ideas for creating content for your blog and more. I encourage you to take action so that you can take your marketing to the next level and grow your business. This is Martha A. Sanchez, marketing expert for Podcasting by Professionals, signing off.
This is Podcast for Profit. Up next, Lynnis Woods-Mullin sharing her tips on strategic collaborations.
Welcome to Strategic Collaborations. I'm your host, Suzanne Strisower, and this segment features authors, coaches, speakers, and leading authorities who are experts in their fields. If you're interested in being recognized as an expert yourself, you'll want to know more about strategic collaborations and how they can work for you. Stay tuned and enjoy my guest today. And my guest today is Lynnis Woods-Mullin, and she's the CEO of Praiseworks Health and Wellness. And she's also a coach and editor-in-chief of the digital online magazine Wellness Women 40 and Beyond. And she's a famous podcaster with 2 hit shows, Wellness Women Live and Our Journey to Wellness Moments. And she's going to share how she's created great podcasts and how that content she uses both on air and also in print. And that may be helpful to you all who are coaches, authors, and speakers and who want to do a podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Suzanne.
So, you've done so many different business models successfully, both with the magazine and the podcasts. How have I want to do this segment really differently. How have your podcasts and magazine sort of collaborated or fed each other and helped each other, which is something listeners can do with their business and, other endeavors they've done. How do you figure out how to make those collaborations work, Lynnis?
All of the authors who write for my publication, they all have been on my show. So whenever they have an article on my in the magazine, I usually try to schedule them for my show. The same token, when they're on my show, if I have somebody new on my show that hasn't been on there before, and it looks like something that would lend itself well to the magazine, I see if they're interested in writing something for the magazine. And moving forward, I'm going to probably do more with themes. So that if my magazine is coming out, let's say in June, and the theme for June is going to be wellness for the summer, then all my broadcasts are going to support things having to do with wellness for the summer. I'm talking about those kinds of things on my blog, and my social media postings are going to be all about those things also.
That's fantastic, Lynnis. And, needless to say, you've been very successful at this. Are there some aspects of collaboration that haven't worked so well for you?
Well, I think that for me, the best kind of collaboration is collaborations that are within my messaging so that as I'm list building, I'm truly list building people who are truly interested in what it is I have to say, interested in the kind of messaging that I put forth, and interested in the kinds of topics and things that my podcast and magazine cover. So the one that comes to mind that didn't work as well was something that I had to do more on the business side. And while I can speak about business and startups, I didn't make one dime from that particular webinar, nor did I get any real captures from that, because those are people who tune into business. They go to my site, and it's all about wellness. And it's not to say I can't speak about business, but my genre, my expertise, the thing that I make money on, has to do with wellness. So I want to make sure I stay in my lane. I think probably one of the best ways to begin to build your list, quite frankly, is making sure you go to local events where you can participate, get a booth or whatever, and begin to have people sign up to find out more about you for the newsletter. Having a newsletter is one way to build a list, because when you send it to people, then you ask them to forward to other people. You ask them if they want to opt in, and that can build the list. Also, having a capture on your website, that when people go to the website, they can, if they give their contact information, they get something for free. And then that way, and you have something on there that says that they may be receiving communications, and if that's okay, they'll say, okay, and that takes care of the fact that you have a targeted, or you're building a targeted list of people who are interested in what it is that you're selling or what it is that you have to say.
Well, Lynnis, thanks for joining me today on this segment of Strategic Collaborations, and I'm wondering if you have any kind of free resource from your wealth of information to offer my guests.
Absolutely. They can go to my website at praiseworks.biz. That's PRAISEWORKS.biz. And there's quite a few free wellness things there.
Well, thanks again for joining me today. And for those of you who are interested in finding out more about me and strategic collaborations and that expertise, you can find me at podcastingbyprofessionals.com and click on the team page. And this is another segment for Podcast for Profit, and I hope you've enjoyed it, and come back and join me again next week on Podcast for Profit. I'm Suzanne Strisower, and I'm committed to your success.
Imagine having a success story of your own. Whether you want to start your own podcast or re-energize your current one, the Podcasting by Professionals newsletter has what you need to be successful and on the cutting edge of the podcasting wave. So take advantage of this marketing opportunity of a lifetime and start getting your message out to millions by engaging new audiences in the fastest way possible through a podcast. So visit podcastingbyprofessionals.com and sign up for our newsletter today. That's podcastingbyprofessionals.com.
Hi there, I'm Teresa Maron, and I'm the Learn To Queen. Join me and my guest expert collaboration partners for an inside look at the problem-solving industry. We want to help you so that you can help others.
Podcasting is not just sticking a mic in front of you and talking, not even if it's a great mic. Podcasting is multimedia content development. And it can be overwhelming, especially if you want to work smart and podcast for profit. The skill set needed to put out blogs, one-sheets, show descriptions, guest bios, and marketing copy week after week is easier when you have a clear system. To maximize your podcast, you need a specific content creation guide that establishes a clear way to market your products and services. This will get your podcast marketing off to an organized and professional start. Now, I've created a system just for podcasters, but let me first give you an example of how it helps you to work smart. Do you feel overwhelmed with all the show descriptions, guest bios, and blogs you need for a podcast? Do you feel like you start from scratch every time you schedule a new program, a new guest, or join a collaboration? Do you give lots of information on your show, but stop short of closing a sale? Do you want one easy file with all your content, like a copy and paste, just one click away? Well, you know you bring people to action when they understand your message and how your podcast will benefit them by giving a consistent message to your story. This creates confidence in your products and services, and then regardless of who your audience is, they will see your value. My 10 points of my content system organizes your message and creates that go-to file that you need. The 10 points are, number 1, who you are, your title and tagline. 2, what you do, your intro and your short description. 3, who you are talking to, your synopsis and your shout out to your ideal client. 4, what they will receive, your short statement of benefits. 5, your story, your point of view, or your longer description of your benefits. Number 6, why you are the expert, your background and experience. Number 7, the problem you solve. Number 8, the solutions you offer. Number 9, the results that people can expect from you. And number 10 is that all-important call to action. So you should start that file right now. It will be edited, updated, and used again and again to share your message, save you time, and close sales with your call to action. As Martha Sanchez discussed earlier in the Marketing Jungle, a system and a strategy is required to podcast for profit. The strategy is what you want them to do. What call to action step is right for your business? Let me give you a little hint. One of the most effective calls to action you can do is to distill your message down into 100 words. Now, this is one of the hardest skills in copywriting and one of the most useful for a call to action. You can use this for your show description, your expert guest topic description, and the short bio that you use at the end of your blog. Your 100 words should include a link for an irresistible offer. These are common choices for your offer: a free gift, report, or resource, a free consultation, or a free subscription to a monthly newsletter or an e-zine. All of these choices have benefits, and it's the next step of your funnel that will tell you what's best for you and your business. You need to ask yourself, what is your audience looking for? What will they want enough to enter their name and give you their email? The most important thing to remember is you need to answer the question, what am I curious to know more about? If you deliver the answer to that question in your call to action, they will opt in and you will capture their email. Next week, we're going to learn to choose what free offer is best for your business and then what step comes next. Now remember, the team of pros at podcastingbyprofessionals.com teaches you to become an expert host of your own show and podcast for profit. Enroll in Podcasting for Beginners today. Once your show is live, continue your training with my system to monetize your show. Just click on my team page to connect and to work with me. I'm Teresa Maron, the Learn To Queen, content marketing expert for podcastingbyprofessionals.com. I am so glad you joined us today, and I want to help you so you can help others.
1.5 billion smartphones are waiting for content. Currently, 159 million Americans listen to online radio. Yes, podcasting is here to stay. However, podcasting is more than just sticking a microphone in front of you and talking. Our program, Podcasting for Beginners, will start you with all of the right moves to create a look, feel, and experience that your listeners will not soon forget. Create authority in your industry and connect with new customers with a professional podcast. Isn't that what you want? Join us at Podcasting by Professionals. Our 5-hour program is an easy-to-follow, step-by-step instructional to help you avoid the mistakes that can keep you in a holding pattern for months, even years. Early bird pricing available now at podcastingbyprofessionals.com. Join us and get your name in the game. We're reaching millions. I'm Keith Rupnik, team member with podcastingbyprofessionals.com. And this is news from Podcast.Place, the web's place for podcast industry news. Here comes another podcast company. Saga Communications Executive Vice President Steve Goldstein has resigned his position after 3 decades with the terrestrial radio broadcast company to form a new podcast venture, Amplify Media. Amplify Media will focus on the development of high-quality digital audio-on-demand podcast content. The technology team at National Public Radio will soon debut a web app to help users discover podcasts. The podcast discovery tool will recommend podcasts listeners might enjoy while gathering recommendations from NPR staff and others. Unlike NPR's podcast directory, which was revamped in January, the app will also include podcasts from beyond public media. In partnership with Yahoo Sports Radio, the Sports Talent Agency of America is launching STAA University. STAA is a remote learning program where students can do everything from home, and all assignments, learning podcast, updates, and play-by-play will be issued online. The BuzzFeed Entertainment and News website launches 2 new podcasts, a talk show focused on weird corners of the internet culture, and another on race, gender, and pop culture issues. Both weekly podcasts are hosted by BuzzFeed staffers, and the company hopes to expand the audio offering in the future with things like shorter-run series, news shows, and reported pieces. Former WPGB-FM Pittsburgh morning host Jim Quinn is back on the air in digital form with an internet show and podcast. Quinn will offer live streams, podcasts, and archives in the members section of warroom.com. And finally, popular Christian artist Jamie Grace has launched her own podcast to share her personal thoughts as a young singer. Jamie Grace uses her platform as a singer, songwriter, speaker, and actress as a way to motivate those around her. At 11 years old, Jamie was diagnosed with Tourette syndrome and knows firsthand the importance of being encouraged at a young age. For more podcast industry news updated daily, visit Podcast.Place, a website devoted exclusively to on-air hosts and producers working in the podcast industry. And for more information on how we can help you develop your podcast, visit podcastingbyprofessionals.com. Be sure to visit the Radio Links team member page. There you'll find links to Podcast.Place, Igloo Radio, our app for independent podcasts, and Radio Links Podcast Consulting for help on polishing your podcast for today's state-of-the-art. And that's what's happening in the podcast industry from Podcast.Place. I'm Keith Rupnik, Radio Links Broadcast Marketing, presented by podcastingbyprofessionals.com.
Join us next week on Podcast for Profit for our show, Contact to Cash. Our special guest is Nancy Matthews, who starts conversations that lead to long-term business relationships.
Become an expert host of your own show and podcast for profit with podcastingbyprofessionals.com. Join us. We're reaching millions.